Hey guys, so this is take 2. First take, battery on the pack died, no audio. Unbelievable. Got about 3 minutes in and the battery died. So let me do it all over again. I guess second time's a charm. So I'm on a motorcycle camping trip by myself in the far southwest New Mexico, almost on the Arizona border. Long ways out here in the middle of nowhere. And there's nobody else around. I was hoping there'd be somebody else around because it is kind of spooky. I've been out here for since 1 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock now. Man, I've heard all kinds of weird stuff. And when I got here, it started raining, so I'm taking shelter in my tent. I put up my tent right away, crawl in my tent, just wait for the rain to stop, and I hear this weird honking, chipping noise. I'm like, what in the hell is that? And then it starts snorting. And I look out my window, and there's a whole pack of javelinas, little baby pigs, all over the place. And I didn't have my camera out yet, so my GoPro was somewhere. I couldn't find it, and I was looking for the big camera. And it was in the backpack, so by the time I got it out, those guys' little dudes hauled butt. So this area is a really mysterious, weird area. Like I said, many, many years ago, I used to log out here. And we'd be 30, 40 miles off in the middle of the woods, and the only road is the road we built, the spur roads they call them. And you'd see and hear things a lot of times that you can explain. And we'd be out in the middle of the night in wintertime, because during the day it'd get warm enough to where the roads would get mushy and soft with the snow. And these trucks weigh over 100,000 pounds, so we'd do it in the middle of the night while it's frozen. Best time to go. So in the middle of the night, you'd find yourself, at the halfway point between the loader and the nearest pavement, and you'd get out of your truck to tighten up the load, and you just feel there's something really bad's about to happen. And I remember one time I was tightening up my load, and I heard little twigs breaking, and I heard like these heavy footsteps coming towards me, and you can't really see. It's pitch black. It's the forest. And I just boogie back up to the truck, slam the door, release the brakes, and start hauling butt, get out of there. I don't know what it was, but it made my hair stand up. It's scary. All of us, there was quite a few of us out there, had that experience. And a good portion of us have seen the footprints, usually the cutters, the guys that go out into the woods and actually chop the trees, fell the trees. More than once they've called me, hey, check this out. And there'd be a footprint, 17, 18 inches long, and it wasn't two bear tracks stuck together. It was like a barefoot footprint. And we all knew it's out there, and the older guys just we don't mess with them, and they don't mess with us, and let's leave it at that. We got to make some money. So if you see this video, that means I survived tonight, by the way. So what made me want to do this video is, one, we haven't made a video in a while. It's been I think 3 or 4 months, or 2 months, 3 months, something like that. But it's good to take a break, because if you get too into the paranormal, then the paranormal gets too into you, I think. And you kind of have to be careful. It's a slippery slope. So it's good to sit back and just watch for things. Is on the way over here, I passed the VLA, Very Large Array, which is in the San Augustine Flats, and it's kind of a bowl that sits in between mountains. I think it's about 30 miles long, and in that bowl sits all these satellite dishes on railroad tracks, and you've seen them in movies. They're in Contact, all kinds of movies. They're all over the place, but cool area. And that's where I had my first and best UFO sighting ever, and that was when I was logging. And we were just cresting the hill, getting ready to drop off into the bowl. And it was probably 3:30 in the morning. My buddy's behind me. We're talking on the CB, and I see this really bright light in the corner of my eye and the corner of my windshield. And I say, what the heck is that on the CB? And he goes, I don't know. I've never seen that. And I thought, neither have I. So I'm thinking it's maybe a helicopter or an airplane, with the light on. So we continued talking, and within minutes it separates into two, and they're about this far apart, and they're just a little bit dimmer. And I'm like, well, that's weird. So we continued talking about it on the CB, and I tell him, hey, we should pull over and check this out. And he was pretty hesitant at first, and I said, look, if these are aliens and they want us, they're going to get us whether we're doing 60 or if we're parked on the shoulder, it really doesn't make a difference. And he goes, yeah. So we agreed to pull over. He pulls over behind me, and there's not much of a shoulder, but it's 3:30 in the morning. There's not a car. There's no lights out there anywhere. There's no city in sight. And we go out to the front of my truck, and we're looking off, and it's probably at my 3 o'clock position from the road. And we can't tell if they're moving or not, and you can't tell how big or how far away they are, because when it's pitch dark, you know, if it's the size of a basketball, it could be 50 feet away. If it's the size of a football field, it might be a mile away, who knows. So we're sitting there and we noticed that they were actually still separating, and one was coming directly at us and the other one was going kind of around behind us. The one that came at us is moving at a steady speed and just about this fast. But like I said, you can't tell how high it is, so it doesn't really, can't really tell how fast that is. But it stops directly above us, and it just sits there. And it sits there probably for almost a minute, while the other one circles around and comes up behind us. The one above us, there's no noise at all, no aircraft sounds at all, nothing. The one above us sits there for about a minute, and it came in from the 3 o'clock position and went directly to the 12 o'clock position. It made a 90-degree turn without turning. It just stopped and then went the other way. And within 30 seconds, blinked out. It followed the road, got dimmer, and then you could see it at the horizon and it was gone. And the other one that came around behind us is coming over the top of us, and it never stopped, but it's passed us a little ways and then kind of veered off 30 degrees, like towards a 230 position, and just kind of started going that way and blinked out. It was gone. The light turned off and it was gone. And it never went to the horizon. It was just a little ways and light off, gone. And we're like, I don't know if that was an airplane. If it was completely silent. Oddly enough, that San Augustine Flats area is also a part of the Roswell spacecraft crashed. Everybody thinks it crashed in Roswell, but it actually crashed near Corona, New Mexico, which is quite a ways northwest of Roswell. And they said the debris from that crash landed out in the San Augustine Flats also. Kind of strange, isn't it? That was 1947. So they built a giant satellite dish observatory out there in the same spot where supposedly that UFO crashed. Creepy area. I've seen some weird stuff out there, but that one takes the cake. Here for today it's called Pitburger. Let me give you a close-up of this sucker. It's a German Pilsner. I already opened it because this is the second take. So it's pretty. Oh, okay. Let me tell you, this is a good beer. My beautiful wife, Debbie, packed 3 of them in my hard luggage case on the side of my motorcycle. As I'm bouncing up this road, one of them broke. Soaked everything down in beer. That seems to be the theme whenever I go on a motorcycle camping trip. Happens more often than not. I should probably wrap these up. Lesson learned, these cans aren't as thick as they used to be. Very good beer. I would have to say I give this one a 10, and that's how good it is. It's delicious. And it's not an IPA. Huh, go figure. So an update on Tina. She's doing fine. She's still activated in the National Guard. She's been all over the place. But she's back right now. She has like a 2-week period where she's hopefully at home. And we're going to plan on a camping trip probably next week. And maybe do another video then. We miss her. I wish she was here now, but everybody should do a solo camping trip in the middle of nowhere by themselves, and it puts a lot of things in perspective. If you've seen this video, that means I wasn't carried off by some hairy critter. But I do have a personal locator beacon that my beautiful wife Debbie bought me for Christmas, and because I'm always out doing things like that, and in the area where you have no cell phone, especially on a motorcycle, I might get run over by an elk or something. And if you have no phone, you might lay there for a long, long time. This thing, I pushed a button and presumably help will be on its way. They're fairly cheap. I think this one costs like $199. There's no monthly subscription fee. The batteries last for 5 years. You send them back to the factory, they put a new battery in, it's good to go again. You can only use them once, so you activate them once. Now, if you activate it and you submit your story to the factory that makes those things, they will send you a new one for free. So it's pretty good insurance. Don't leave home without one, I think. And of course, I carry a firearm. Being on a motorcycle, I'm limited to the amount of things I bring, but I bring my handgun. Because there's stuff out here. There's bears out here. There's all kinds of weird stuff, mountain lions. And years ago, some friends of mine and I were deer hunting out here. This was probably back in the early 2000s. We were actually being stalked by a mountain lion. And he was stalking us during daylight before it got dark. And that was something, and the following day, we ran into a rancher. He drove by in his pickup, and we told him about him, and he said he's had problems with that mountain lion, did the same thing to him. I need to stop telling stories like this out here. Jesus, I'm out here in the forest. I can't leave. Oh, man. All right. So anyway, we're going to be coming out with some more videos. Oh, and a quick story real fast. Thanks for still being subscribed. Still 360 something, I think. Thanks for not unsubscribing. Oddly enough, about 4 weeks ago, I get a call from a pretty popular not news channel, but network. And they've come across me watching my videos, and I'm like, what? This lady was a producer, and I said, I've got like 360 subscribers. What are you talking about? She goes, well, we like what you do, and they were considering me for a position in an investigative team in something going on in Utah. I'm like, well, hell yeah, that sounds badass. So the director, I do a little demo tape, and the director calls me, and the assistant director calls me, and they're all for it. They're like, you'd be a perfect fit. I'm like, huh, pretty cool. And then like a week later, I get a call saying that the network, because the network itself pays the bills, and they decided to go a different route. So win some, lose some. And I guess everything happens for a reason, because I get lonely being up here by myself for one night. I can imagine being in Utah for freaking half a year. I'd have to take my wife, my dogs, and everybody over there with me. But this is the second time somebody has hit me up on my YouTube channel. The first one was the travel channel, and it was another popular show, but I would have just made like a cameo appearance, which I was going to do until they sent me the contract, and then the contract just scared me. I was basically selling the rights to the story to them. They had authority to change it and do whatever they wanted to do with it, and I wasn't allowed to say anything about it. And I wasn't allowed to talk about it on my channel or anything, So once they did their episode, and if they made any changes, I'm not saying they do, but if they did, I wouldn't have been allowed to say, well, that's bullshit, that's not what I said. So like, no, that's kind of like selling your soul, I think they want to pay me like $1,800 and fly me to Toronto, Canada to do this 2-day shoot. And I'm like, no, thanks. Life's too short to be screwing around like that, So anyway, hope you enjoyed this little catch-up video. I'm doing fine. Everybody's doing fine. Y'all stay healthy, and probably see you next time. Bye.